We're goblins! Space goblins! We're goblins! Space goblins! We creep through the stars, we're small and green. Don't need a cloak to go unseen. We mine the rocks, space gnomes don't dare. Small but mighty, you best beware. We're goblins! Space goblins! We're goblins! Space goblins!
Hello and welcome back to Site B, broadcasting live from the mythical town of Fresno, Nevada, where everybody knows your name because the town doesn't actually exist. I'm the OGGM. It's the 22nd day of October. It's 64 degrees and gorgeous outside. We're talking about The Calling, Sci Fi Western role-playing game. It's one of the mini games we downloaded from that huge Humble Bumble. 57 games for $40. We're getting to the last of the games. And this is The Calling, which on the cover features a space samurai fighting a cyborg dinosaur thing with a barbarian next to him. So you already know this is the kind of game I'm going to absolutely love or absolutely hate because you took an idea I love and ruined it. So let's take a look at The Calling. Remember, this is not a review. I'm not failing my wisdom check. This is role-playing as if we walked into the store, we see this on the shelf, and we're flipping through it to see whether this is a game we want or not. So we're looking at how exciting this game is, how easy it is to follow, the art. Does it do the job better than, say, Deadlands or, say, my Weird West game? What the fuck is a sci-fi Western role-playing game? Is it just trying to recapture Firefly or Deadlands? I mean, with a cyborg dinosaur fighting a cowboy samurai, I'm thinking riffs and Deadlands, but let's take a look. This game comes to us from Ohad Reiter. Ohad Reiter. Ohad Reiter. Not familiar at all with Mr. Reiter's work, but let's fast forward to the last page to see what we see. The Calling. On our journey through space, we met the star gods and brought them along back to Earth. Then the war of nuclear proportions scorched the planet. The star gods helped us rebuild, teaching us our lost history with the help of the good old movies, and so the Wild East was born. The Calling is a tabletop role-playing game. Get some friends together and play the roles of katana cowboys, kung fu nuns, laser prophets, and beast-riding witches. One of you will narrate the game while the rest of you will play. Play through the character ranks 1 through 4 with this free starter set. The full edition is available separately. Okay. Do we have a character record sheet? No. Looks like we have some spells. Character record sheet. Okay, let's go to the table of contents. And this was written in 2022. And we've got the tale, cybernetics, gods, time travel. Feels kind of riffs this, but I mean, I guess it falls on the same premise that my post-apocalypse game falls on, that, you know, when they reemerged from the apocalypse, they would build their society around the movies and around what they saw. You know, in my case, it was they rebuilt the society around roadside attractions and Old West memorabilia, which is why mine is Weird West. And this looks like pretty much the same thing. Rebuilt their society over, you know, out of whatever. No art. Okay, here's the table of contents, character creation. We've got Dojo, Calling, playing a start gun. I guess a start gun is sort of the representation of the DM. And then the magic system. All right. So howdy, partner. Chosen of the Star Gudge. Requirements of play. Welcome to Earth. No art. Here's a little cool little picture mixing the East-West, Old World, New World look. You know, China, Oriental Pagoda and Old West Town. Like the art, very simple. More build up. Excuse me. So lore, and we've got another picture. We've got our samurai cowgirl. We've got another guy with a sword. We've got this young lady with and then we got a guy with a guitar. So I guess he's the bard. More introduction. Okay, I would have liked to gotten to character building by now. There are 5 traits in the game. Muscle, Grace, Insight, Resolve, and Charm. Each has a score ranging from 1 to 6, with a score of 3 representing human average. Character traits might look like something like this. Muscle 2, Grace 4, Insight 3, Resolve 3, Charge 3. We use this is a D6. Role-playing games calls for a 6-sided dice. When you see the rules asking you to roll a number of 6-sided dice, it means you need to roll that number of dice and add the result together. Roll blah, blah, blah. 2 dice and adding trait scores is the main one. So 2d6 plus resolve, 2d6 plus charm, but you can go higher and lower, it looks like. So small dice pool system. I like dice pool systems. Some more examples. I like examples. Rules on mysteries and special attacks. Okay, still don't know how to make a character. We're on to page 16. I would have put character building by page 4. So first you pick your fighting style. Then you pick your calling, your class. Then you write down your role. Fill in your mysteries and stuff like that. And make your character. So here's our example character, Maddie the Laser Viking. Her different things. Favorite movie, Sukiyaki Western Django. Hey, I thought I was the only person who ever saw that movie. If you want a weird, fever, dream, bizarre, Weird West, check out Sukiyaki Western Django, starring Quentin Tarantino. It's on Amazon, and it is fun in a weird way. All right, so here's the example character. Excuse me. Here's the example stats. Could use a little bit more action. Long running on how to build a character, how to advance the character. We have your dojo. There's the armored dojo, the battle dojo, the beast rider dojo. So these are backgrounds. Your combat style, the cyborg dojo. I don't really understand. The katana dojo. These aren't your classes. The kung fu dojo, the laser dojo. Okay, the robot dojo. There's a robot. Then we pick our classes: assassin, ninjas versus cowboys, cowboy, exorcist, blade versus some barbarian woman, godchild, nun, paladin, prophet. Okay, so we've got backgrounds, which are your dojos, and your background gives you ability. And then we've got your calling, which is your class, and your class skills ability. Both level up, and as you level up, it seems like you get abilities from both. That's cool. Most games don't fall back, return to the backgrounds. It's like you get your background Fisher, and it gives you like your +2s to survival, and then it never comes up again unless the player or the DM says, "Hey, can I roll my fishing roll?" But this one feels like there's a reason to return to the background and have a background, and each background gives you something, and those somethings expand as you level. Shaman, Viking, okay. Witch feels like a little much now. Then we have our skills, blah, blah, blah. D6 plus stuff. Now we're getting into let's waste lots of space because we never heard of columns. Equipment. Dynamite. And we got weapons. Armor. The usual stuff. Gear. Combat. The round, turn, PCs and NPCs, roll initiative, 1d6 plus grace. Everybody's initiative, top down. Take turns according to initiative order. Round ends when PCs are all done. What you can do, you can move, you can attack. There's a couple of, okay, so pretty standard stuff. Rules for healing. maneuvers. This 286 pages feels like it could have been, maybe 100 pages. Player versus player, but so far I haven't seen any safety tools. Especially if this is just the starter set and we don't get a full 1 through 20 level adventure. It seems like there's a lot of wasted space that could have been used someplace else. Do I really need to know all this if this is the starting adventure, the quick start? Quick start should be like 20, 40, 60, maybe 100 pages. Unless we're talking starter set where you get like the basic boiled down rules and an adventure and some, dice and whatever. But between kickstart and starting set, less is more. These are all questions that probably would never come up, especially if the starter set included a pre-generated characters or pre-generated adventure, and the rules only tell you how to get to 4th level. So this just feels like wasted space. And also, not enough pictures of dinosaurs. You got a dinosaur on the cover, so you should be selling me on the space dinosaurs. It seems to be very important to the story on the cover. Creating a star god. Choose a domain. So if you ever wanted to make a god NPC, and here's the example. Why does a god need stats though? Why is the god, I guess, coming to Earth and playing as an NPC amongst the player characters and giving them things to do? So acting as their patron. The gods can level up, I guess, but the more you worship them. And advancing the star god so that star god can level too. So as the star god levels, the players get more powers by associating with them. Okay, interesting idea. And the form the star god could take. Zardoz. Here's the different examples. Then the domains of some of the example gods, aspects. Okay, this is way too much. Is this really going to come in play? Playing unless does every player get to be a star god, or is it these are our patrons and these are the abilities our patrons give us and how they would help us out? And this seems like a lot of stuff, especially again for quick start rules. This seems like too much, guys. Building a town. Okay, that's important. But again, quick start rules. But a town is very important to a Western. So I guess I could see why that would be there. Or just I would have included a pre-built town, an explanation for the pre-built town, and that's it. Like Fresno, Nevada. This is the quick start rules. I don't really need to know this. In fact, you're giving me so much information. Why should I buy your rules? Typical encounters, dungeons. Here's some monsters. One monster taking up a whole page. One monster taking up a whole page. Two monsters taking up a whole page. Where are your columns, dude? Columns. 1 page for insects. Yeah, now we're getting to the wasted space. Doppelgangers. Okay, doppelgangers have a whole section. Fables. And I guess these are the mystical things. Different types of humanoids and humanoids. Cultists, NPC katana cowboy, assassins. This could have all been done with columns. This is wasted space. You need some more art. Not enough dinosaurs. Some robots. The undead. Gotta have undead. More magic. Not enough art. Okay. Yeah. How much was this? Well, this is one of the games I got for free. It's a starter set. I love cyborg dinosaur versus samurai cowboy and loincloth barbarian all fighting together on Volcano Island. That's my favorite version of fantasy genre. That is the epitome of 1970s, 1980s Sinbad, Ray Harryhausen, Gonzo fantasy. That's why I love Tomb of Annihilation and I love Freeport and I love Dinosaur Pirate Jungle Island. But this is a 286 starter set, 286 page starter set with a lot of wasted space. Most of the stuff in here we don't need because it's a starter set. A quick start is just supposed to dive us right in and get us hooked. If you've gone past 50 pages, probably losing attention. We could just look at any example starter set or the Heroes of the Borderlands set that just came out from Wizards is a good example. I know people don't like it, but I think it's a perfect starter set. It's got one major flaw, but other than that, it gives you pre-generated characters, quick build characters. It gives you a home base. It gives you a starter adventure that the player characters can be a part of. It comes with maps and cards and tokens and dice. Sometimes the starter sets come with a figure or two, but normally the standard starter set is quick start rules, maybe a small adventure, like 10, 15 pages, pre-generated characters, a map, and maybe dice. This is 286 pages. And since your main selling point on the cover is cyborg dinosaurs, where were the cyborg dinosaurs? There's not enough cyborg dinosaurs. A lot of wasted space, not a lot of art. Like the idea, don't really understand what some of the sections are there. So if I'm putting this down and I'm done and I'm like, okay, so this is Deadlands in space. How is this better, worse than Deadlands in space? How is this better, worse than Rifts? How is this better than worse than the Weird West game that the OGGM made? Should I spend $50 on this guy's game or $4 on the OGM's game? Or just pick up Deadlands or Rifts or any system? I mean, basically the big selling point is cowboys. Other than that, it's pretty much standard game. And you get to have some control over the gods. I like that. I like the idea that the backgrounds matter because the backgrounds level up with you if you invest time. I like the idea that the gods matter, and the more energy you pour into the god, the more the god gives back. And if you don't pour any energy into the god dwindles away. The god is only as powerful as his worshippers. So there's some good ideas in here. I don't think it needed to be this many pages. Definitely could have used columns. The page glut is a disease that we're seeing a lot of. And that's something I try and avoid with mine. That's why I make mine so cheap. And I try and waste as little space as possible, sometimes to the detriment. And I'm very excited to see games that don't waste space. Because I don't have a lot of money. You don't have a lot of money. I don't want to spend $40, $50 on a game that could have been $10 had you just managed the space better. Not that I'm an expert in editing, but at least I know how to do font sizes and columns and tables to save space and not use full page art unless it's to separate chapters. And the art should evoke the genre. You've got some great art. I would like to see some more art. So I give this a B-. Like, I'm interested, but I'm also like, I could run this. There's nothing in here that I can't do on my own using another system. But I like the tables and I like the ideas, but I could take those ideas and do something else with this. Does this really need to be its own game when there's already games that do this? When 90% of the game is wasted space, it doesn't really feel like a starter set. That's only 1 through 4 levels. How big is the real full game? So B-. I don't know if I'd play it. I definitely don't think I'd buy it because I already have it, but there's ideas in it that could be interesting. So there you go. That is my first view of The Calling. Also, why is it called The Calling? A sci-fi Western role-playing game, part of the Humble Bumble. Again, this is not a review. This is just personal opinion. This is just me flipping through it in the game store and what jumps out to me. Does this game sell me to convince me to look through it again or purchase it? And right now I'm going to say no. I like the ideas, but yeah, no, not enough. Sorry. But you never know. I'd play it if somebody wanted to run it. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. If you appreciate this or any of the things I do, please consider supporting the OGGM by donating to the Ko-Fi or picking up my game. You may have noticed that I mentioned several times that I have a Weird West game that I think, of course, is better because I made it. And my Weird West game is marked down to $4, linked down below. I also have a brand new expansion for Shadow Dark, post-Holocaust hex crawl rules, for $6, available on drive-thru. So if you're looking for some D20 hex crawl, post-apocalypse, whimsical, weird rules for $6, check it out. Till next time, I'll see you. Take care.
Through the stars, we're small and green. Don't need a cloak to go unseen. We mine the rocks, space gnomes don't dare. Small but mighty, you best beware. We're goblins, space goblins. We're goblins, space goblins. Every port and on every ship.